Hi kids, you recognize this cover, right? This is the Phantom Tollbooth. 如果让我来翻译的话，就是迷幻收费站，魔幻收费站，魔幻收费站比较好。This is a book by Norton Juster. It became one of my favorite kids' books. I never read it as a kid. I only read it because I had to read it with you guys, right? But I liked it so much that I am going to read it here. So this is my junior youth level selection. I will at least read 3 chapters, if not 4. I would do the whole thing, actually, given a chance. You see all this underlined text was when I read to Aiden, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. 2 years ago, yeah. There are 3 reasons why I love this book. 2 or 3. And I'm going to tell them along the way when we get to why I like it. Okay, here we go. Chapter 1, Milo. 有时候这个是很难对齐哈，所以你们要原谅我。有时候如果顿一下的话。Milo. There was once a boy named Milo who didn't know what to do with himself, not just sometimes, but always. When he was in school, he longed to be out, and when he was out, he longed to be in. On the way, he thought about coming home, and coming home, he thought about going. Wherever he was, he wished he were somewhere else. And when he got there, he wondered why he had to bother. Nothing really interested him, least of all the things that should have. 最应该让他有兴趣的东西，他反而最没有兴趣。It seems to me that almost everything is a waste of time, he remarked one day as he walked dejectedly home from school. I can't see the point in learning to solve useless problems, or subtracting turnips from turnips, or knowing where Ethiopia is, or how to spell February. And since no one bothered to explain otherwise, he regarded the process of seeking knowledge as the greatest waste of time of all. 他居然认为去寻找知识是世界上最浪费时间的事。As he and his unhappy thoughts hurried along, for while he was never anxious to be where he was going, he liked to get there as quickly as possible. 虽然他从来没有很热衷的要去他要去的地方，但是他总是想要很快的就能够去到那里。It seemed a great wonder that the world, which was so large, could sometimes feel so small and empty. And worst of all, he continued sadly, there's nothing for me to do, nowhere I would care to go, and hardly anything worth seeing. He punctuated this last thought with such a deep sigh that a house sparrow singing nearby stopped and rushed home to be with his family. 这个当然很夸张了。他说他强调了最后这一个 thought， 强烈，非常强烈的强调了最后这个 thought。旁边有一只唱歌的麻雀，赶快跑回家去陪他的家人了。Without stopping or looking up, Milo dashed past the buildings and busy shops that lined the street, and in a few minutes reached home. Dashed through the lobby, hopped onto the elevator, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and off again. Opened the apartment door, rushed into his room, flopped dejectedly into a chair. dejectedly 就是很沮丧的啊，刚刚好像看到这个字了。into a chair and grumbled softly. Another long afternoon. He looked glumly at all the things he owned. The books that were too much trouble to read, the tools he'd never learned to use, the small electric automobile he hadn't driven in months, or was it years, and the hundreds of other games and toys, the bats and balls, the bits and pieces scattered around him. And then, to one side of the room, just next to the phonograph, he noticed something he had certainly never seen before. 这本书好像是很久以前写的哈，60年代，我记得刚刚有检查。Phonograph 就是那个放唱片的那个，放黑胶唱片的那个时候叫做 phonograph. Who could possibly have left such an enormous package, and such a strange one? For, while it was not quite square, it was definitely not round, and for its size, it was larger than almost any other big package of smaller dimension that he had ever seen. 其中一个原因我喜欢这本书，就是它会很巧妙的有一点文字的游戏。比方说这里就是第一个哈，我们这本书 throughout 我们会一直看到这种东西，就是这个包裹呢突然出现在他的房间，那么是 it was larger than almost any other big package of smaller dimension that he had ever seen. 这个包裹的这个大包裹比所有比它小的大包裹都要大，就这个意思，没有任何意思。Attached to one side was a bright blue envelope, which said simply, "For Milo, who has plenty of time." Of course, if you've ever gotten a surprise package, you can imagine how puzzled and excited Milo was. And if you've never gotten one, pay close attention, because someday you might. I don't think it's my birthday, he puzzled, and Christmas must be months away, and I haven't been outstandingly good, or even good at all. 他说他最近没有很乖，为什么有人会给他一个礼物？ Most probably, I won't like it anyway, but since I don't know where it came from, I can't possibly send it back. He thought about it for a long time. He thought about it for quite a while, and then opened the envelope. But just to be polite. 他觉得说，哎呀，有人送他一个礼物了，我还是打开吧。One genuine turnpike tollbooth is stated, and then it went on. Easily assembled at home, and for use by those who have never traveled in lands beyond. 他说有一个 genuine 就是很真实的，有一个货真价实的，就是一个高速公路的一个收费站 turnpike 就是一个公路。Easily assembled at home 很容易就可以组装了，而且是为了谁呢？那些很少从来没有去很远的地方旅行的人。Beyond what? Lands beyond 他没有说很远，他说就是超过那个 beyond， 在那个另外一边，从来没有去很远的另外一边旅行过的地方。他就说另外哪一边呢？ Beyond what? Thought Milo as he continued to read. This package contains the following items. One genuine turnpike toll booth to be erected according to directions. 3 precautionary signs to be used in a precautionary fashion. Assorted coins for use in paying tolls. 1 map, up to date, and carefully drawn by master cartographers depicting natural and man-made features. 1 book of rules and traffic regulations, which may not be bent or broken. 他就说这个包裹里面含有什么东西呢？因为你买了一个玩具，那个盒子里面总会告诉你什么东西嘛，对不对？他 还有一个收费站 to be erected 可以被立起来 ，erect 就是直立的，可以把它立起来 according to directions 根据你的这个教你的 instructions 就可以把它组装起来。3 precautionary signs 就3个警告性质的这个 signs to be used in a precautionary fashion 你看又来了哈 assorted coins 就是各式各样的铜板当你要付钱的时候 one map up to date 然后 carefully drawn by master 这个应该是制作地图的人 depicting 这个字一定要会哈 depict 就是显示就是把它画出来呈现天然的还有人造的这个该显示出来的 features 就是都在上面 one book of rules 有一个规矩的一个手册那么他也没有说是什么地方的规矩And in smaller letters at the bottom, it concluded, results are not guaranteed, but if not perfectly satisfied, your wasted time will be refunded. 你浪费的时间会被补回来。Following the instructions, which told him to cut here, lift there, and fold back all around, he soon had the whole Tollbooth unpacked and set up on its stand. He fitted the windows in place and attached the roof, which extended out on both sides, and fastened on the coin box. It was very much like the toll booths he had seen many times on family trips, except, of course, it was much smaller and purple. What a strange present, he thought to himself. The least they could have done was to send a highway with it, for it's terribly impractical without one. But since, at the time, there was nothing else he wanted to play with, he set up the 3 signs. Slow down, approaching toll booth. 就是说慢下来，有一个收费站你正在接近一个收费站。Please have your fare ready. 钱，费用。Have your destinations in mind. 目的地 and slowly unfolded the map. As the announcement stated, it was a beautiful map, in many colors, showing principal roads, 主要的干道。这个 principal 是 PAL 哈，校长就是这个。roads, principal roads, rivers and seas, towns and cities, mountains and valleys, intersections and detours, and sites of outstanding interest, both beautiful and historic. 就像所有的地图一样啊，它什么都有，而且还有很值得去拜访的地方，很漂亮的地方，还有具有历史意义的地方。The only trouble was that Milo had never heard of any of the places it indicated, and even the names sounded most peculiar. I don't think there really is such a country, he concluded, after studying it carefully. Well, it doesn't matter anyway. And he closed his eyes and poked a finger at the map. Dictionopolis, read Milo slowly, when he saw that his finger had chosen. Oh well, I might as well go there as anywhere. He walked across the room and dusted the car off carefully. Then, taking a map and rule book with him, he hopped in and, for lack of anything better to do, drove slowly up to the toll booth. As he deposited his coins and rolled past, he remarked wistfully, I do hope this is an interesting game. Otherwise, the afternoon would be so terribly dull. Okay, this is chapter 1. Let's carry on with chapter 2 next time.